what you need to present. You could be telling people that Hong Kong is not taking, this is the problem in Hong Kong, and this is an action it needs to take. If it's yes, no. And then another way would be a pyramid structure. So again, putting the whatever main assertion you're trying to do, so and then what are the different sub-assertions, and then what are the supporting data to support you to make that statement. There are different ways, and actually, this is more on not a business plan. This is more like telling a story and a presentation. When we do that, if you ever seen a McKinsey company slide for client or for report, when they do that, when they also then branch out and say these are the subsections, they have something called the trackers on the top, so you know exactly where you are, and then they will have supporting pages. In McKinsey, one of the things that we do is, this is quite a good consulting practice. So we have a team sit together, and then we analyze the problem of the client. And we start writing out what's called a ghost chart. It's a storyboard. We start writing all these squares, and then we say, okay, story one, the statement, the problem statement, and then the governing thought, and then things. And you start having all these charts with no content, but you have some idea what should go on that chart. You know, it's like how you're going to tell the story. That's why it's called a storyboard. And then you can say divide and conquer. So you will, take care of the first few slides of the market analysis. You take care of the comparative analysis. Then you can divide the story. So you can think about, if you structure it that way, and you can start dividing it, and then so team member can take a piece and say, okay, I will do this part and that part, etc. So it's a good way of dividing the work. Maybe I should mention one more thing. When we do that, we also, you probably hear this in some other cases, there's a term called MICE. We call it mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. MICE, M-E-C-E. I'll say that again. Mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. So if your analysis, your pyramid structure, if you think about if these two sub-assertions, if they are mutually exclusive, for example, profit, revenue, cost. Now, revenue and cost are mutually, to a certain extent, they're mutually exclusive. So you can have someone focusing on the revenue, someone else focusing on the cost. But collectively exhaustive, meaning profit really, really consists of only revenue and cost. So you have in other words, no gaps, and you have no overlap. Why we do that is, first of all, no gap. So when you go to the client, when you tell a story, there's nothing that you have missed, you have forgot to say. So the client will say, did you consider this? Yes, we have, because everything is collectively exhaustive, nothing left behind. And they have no overlap. That means if I give this task to one person and give another task to another person, they won't be wasting their time to do the same thing. Imagine if you didn't cut this clearly, then someone and someone else will be doing the same thing, going after the same data, because they actually overlap. So this is a good practice. When you do something like this, the structure, if there's more than one sub-assertion, or 2 or 3, you should try to structure it in a MICE way, mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. No gap, no overlap. It's a good way. By the way, there's also another reason to do that. If you decided that there are too many sub-assertions, and it's just not reasonable or not possible to cover all the ground, when you need to prioritize, you can then say, okay, I shouldn't be considering this because this gives me the lowest impact, and I don't have enough resource to cover everything. So that also gives you a good way of cutting something off. Okay, that's another way of presenting the story. So, of course, you should rehearse your presentation. I expect when you go to see the judges of the competition. You can read through it yourself, but it's very hard for, when you write the presentation, it's very hard for you to find the mistake when you read through it. So get someone else to also read through it. You can run through it, that meaning, you try to just quickly rehearse. But then, if you're really serious, if it's really important enough, you can, dress up. I expect this competition was quite serious, so you have maybe suit and tie for guys and other, appropriate business dress for ladies. It puts you in a different mood. So, and get your friends to also be serious, because you can suggest suit and tie as judges. Totally different kind of mood. So it is worth doing, I think. And so actually, when you present, to stay calm. I noticed some of you, when you were presenting, were a little bit nervous, and then and I think also when you talk about numbers, sometimes you struggle a little bit. 600,000. When you practice, you wouldn't kind of struggle like that, right? So you should know by then. So. Oh, by the way, there will always be surprises. It's just like, when you present something, I will challenge some of the assumptions. So think about it and get your audience, get the people who look at your rehearsal to challenge some of your numbers. But of course, this is a competition. You are still students, most of you are, and of course, I don't expect the same kind of level of standard. But you're learning, and hopefully one day you will reach that standard, because you will be seeing investor. You will be an investor in the future. So hopefully you actually do that. And of course, I wish you good luck. I won't be one of the judges. So I'm just telling you this. I may come and watch. Okay, there was no exercise for that one. You have already tried some of these, but now having heard of how to make a better presentation, if you redo some of the things that you do today, I'm sure you'll be even better. I hope. Okay, we're now good at time. We just catch up a little bit. And the final part of today's training is on social impact assessment, because we are doing the social enterprise thing. And so all the things, the 4 sections that we cover are all on the business side and the presentation skills. Social impact assessment. What are we trying to do? I want you to, when you do your social enterprise, of course, apart from the business problem, state the social problems you are trying to address. Vision and mission, theory of change, and how the impact value change. And then maybe if you can, try to define and quantify the social impact. The social problem, pretty much exactly like the business problem. So state what the problem is, what caused the problem, who has the problem, and why do you think it's important. Now, because it's a social problem, it can be important to you, because you feel very passionate about solving this problem. It could be a personal experience. That's okay, because social problem, we're not talking about business problem, how we're going to make profit. So you can be much more passionate and be more personal about the social problem that you're trying to address, which is great. In fact, I would like to see you being very passionate about something you're trying to solve and help the society. And the vision. So in that case, what that means is so with your social enterprise, how do you see the world change as a result? So I mean, the dialogue in the dark. Everybody heard about this social enterprise, right? They basically want better understanding of people with better understanding of other people, maybe with disability. And what is the future of your organization? Can you expand? Are you going to help more people? What do you envision that? Is it going to be a worldwide, a model that you can replicate worldwide? But if since you are writing the business plan, the social enterprise business plan, your vision will limit your expansion. If you think big, probably you can become big. It is unlikely that you think small and then you become big. Just unlikely. So think about it. Is this something you can replicate elsewhere with the right mindset, people connected, that you can do bigger things? Maybe. And for that vision, what you need to accomplish to make that vision happen. So vision, in a way, how I define it is, vision is what do you aspire to be? So I want to be the largest organization that helps the homeless. Maybe I want to get the homeless people a shelter. That's what I want to be. But my mission is therefore to find enough, to build enough cheap housing. That's the mission. So mission is more something that is actionable, something I do. This is how I will impact. This is something I need to do. And then to give me a sense of purpose. But the vision is more, okay, I envision myself to be or versus to act. So mission and vision. Example, I like this. Anybody know what this is? To raise awareness of the importance of nutritious food and cooking and the impact of the lives of everyone, especially children and other vulnerable groups. Anybody know what this organization is? Jamie Oliver's Kitchen, yes. It's the 15. It's called 15. Jamie Oliver. Great charity in the UK. So basically, he employed 15 chefs from the street. People with no jobs, and he employed, and then he trained them to be chefs. And in a way, also he would only use nutritious food. Great vision. He actually changed the. I was in boarding school in UK, so he actually tried to change the diet, the menu for people who are serving meals to the kids. They used to have a lot of things which are deep fried, high sugar, high oily content and things. And he said none of that. He tried to remove all the chips and cookies and chocolate and visio drinks in the tuck shop. And then the children were actually more healthy and more active at school. So but he also employed people to become chefs. So take them off the street, train them to be good chefs. So very, very, very interesting. Okay, to facilitate social inclusion of marginalized people on a global basis. You know what that is? The mission of to facilitate social inclusion of marginalized people on a global basis. Okay, it's okay. I'll tell you. It's actually dialogue in the dark. That's their mission. So it's not just for blind people. They want to have anybody with a marginalized disability being included in the society on a global basis. So they expand to Hong Kong. I mean, if they don't say on a global basis, they probably will only be, I think it's Dutch. I think the company over Germany. Okay. So they have a global vision. They want to be everywhere. And from this statement, that means it's not just going to be to serve people with blindness, but there will be more program for other people, which is great. This is a good thing. To help homeless people help themselves. You know what that is? No, well, maybe, but this is not where I found it. But if you're from the UK, this is the big issue. There are people in the street in UK homeless, and someone came up with the idea of publishing a magazine called The Big Issue, and they only employ the homeless people to sell. So it's retail on the street at £150. So it's about 18 Hong Kong dollar today, today's exchange rate. So the homeless who is selling it keep half of that, and he pass half back to the publisher. And the publisher will also have some advertising and other things. So helping the homeless people to help themselves. They don't want to just hand out money. They want them to do it being a sales of a magazine. And the Big Issue magazine would have a lot of articles which are on social problems, social issues. So it's an interesting scheme. So if you go to the UK and you see people in the street and say, Big Issue, help the homeless, that's how they kind of advertise. And we used to joke about this when we graduate in the UK. And then we asked our friends, so what are you going to do after you graduated? Big issue, big issue. so perceiving that we may be homeless. So no, these are interesting examples of the mission. So think about your mission, your social enterprise mission. And the value, the benefit that you are creating. Here are just some of the beneficiaries, people who may benefit this creation of your social enterprise, maybe the community, maybe the people who partner with you, maybe people who actually invest, they may have, if it's a corporate company, commercial company, they may get some recognition. That's a good thing for them still, not financially, but recognition. The society as a whole, and maybe your team, the satisfaction, and then they can go on and make better good. So what are the value that you bring? And hopefully, actually, we can touch upon each one of them, or whatever social enterprise that you are establishing. Because we don't have time, we will skip this one, because I was going to actually, you can turn the two cases, if there is a social enterprise angle for the two cases. So we will skip that one, but I will just tell you, of course, the glasses one is very, very obvious. You can help the underdeveloped countries, and so distribute more, and then once they have correct vision, then they can be more productive. They can go to school, to do things which are more difficult, more sophisticated. There's a huge value in terms of every person you help to correct their vision. For the English language one, if you go even further to 4th tier city or even 3rd tier city, if you can give away some of those lessons, that again, helping someone to learn English in China would add value to the person, and this almost like cannot measure the impact. So these could be social problem would be people needing glasses in poor country, or people in some country who needing to learn English to improve their life. So you can think of the correspondence, vision and mission. That was originally the exercise that we're going to do. So I still have a case that I want to show you. So we'll skip that one. And we'll go to the theory of change. Reason we include this in this training is that we want to show you a way that you can describe the changes that you're going to bring about. Apart from, we talk about the benefit, we talk about a lot of things, but another framework to help you. So the theories of change is how you would describe a certain outcome based on the activities that your social enterprise is going to execute. And therefore, actions leading to some changes, and ultimately how those outcomes would actually reaching your goal in terms of the social impact you're trying to deliver. In words, that's what we're trying to establish.
Is it actually giving value? Is it promoting value?
No, this is more a way to describe the ultimate goal that you're trying to achieve can be achieved through these outcomes as a result of some of the actions that you're trying. So it's just giving it a bit more logical connection. And it's not rocket science. It's simply just saying, if you want this change to happen, then I need this condition to be true. Or if this condition and then this condition and then another condition are met, then the change will happen. So, again, as I said, this is not rocket science, but it's just a way it can help you to think about how to describe your social impact, the changes that you are bringing about. So, let's just do some example, right? If everyone eats good diet, and people don't get sick as often, you can expand that. Like Jamie Oliver would say, if the children have better diet, they won't get sick as often. They won't be, they're so sleepy in the afternoon, and they are more active, and they improve their learning, which is all true. That's your documentary on BBC, how he actually changed some of the schools of the diet, and then the result. I love that. I love that program. It's really, really good. So if more people understand the world of the blind, then people will have more compassion, and they would more harmony. So if the homeless people can help themselves, then they will have the dignity of self-supporting. It's important. If someone feels that I am not relying on someone else, it is important to give them that dignity. For example, so think about it. If then Now we're getting solutions. Because we already done the business plan, this is more a bit repetitive. But then just think about this on the social aspect. So what is the solution or in the product or service that you're trying to provide, and what are the customers? In some cases, your commercial enterprise has the same customer as the social enterprise. In some cases, one good example is in India. There is a social enterprise where they have the best surgeons performing some operation on the eye, and because they are so good that everybody would go to this hospital for that operation. They are the world leader. But if you are from a well-off family, or at least not underprivileged, they will charge you the full fare of the operation. But at the same time, they dedicate, I think, 1 or 2 days per week just to help people who cannot afford the operation. It's an eye operation. So in other words, they're serving the same type of customers, but the only difference is one are people who can afford it, the other group are people who cannot afford it. So in that case, there's no difference. Now, in some other cases, like for example, in Hong Kong, there are a group of people who they employ some single mothers for cooking meals for community. So their employees themselves have a job. Otherwise, it's difficult. And then they're serving the community or someone else who need to have a proper diet and proper meals. So you have different set of customers versus the business customer versus your social impact. So think about how your solution is helping the customer. Are they the same as your business customer? Are they different? So describe them. And how you actually help them to remove whatever pain, right? Maybe the single mother cannot find a job easily, and now you give them a flexible part-time job, for example. And again, for someone, I mean, there were others where they employ people who have been in jail to become hairdressers or barber. Otherwise, they don't have the skills. They can't find a job. So that social enterprise give them a job, and then that is actually a business. So in terms of the social impact they are helping was on the people who have been to jail. But in terms of the business, they are actually helping people to cut hairs and just get revenue from that. So different. So sometimes it's the same group, sometimes it's a different group. So your solution, who are you helping and what pain are you removing? And finally, can you measure the social impact? We're going to introduce a framework of how you try to measure the social impact. Now, this is not yet a proven model, but I want to give you some ideas so you can describe it in your plan if you want. Well, you can look at it as the social outcome and the contribution to the ultimate goal. There may be some indicator, if it's productivity, if it's cost saving from the government, in terms of don't need to get subsidy from the government. It could be that. Something quantifiable. Are you going to measure these indicators on a regular basis, or can you measure it on a regular basis? And who will actually measure this impact? So that gives you some idea, but it all depends on the social enterprise that you're trying to do, right? So if we take the example of employing the people who've been to jail, ex-cons, I hate that word because US uses it a lot, but so you're taking people off the they don't need to get the subsidy from the government, right? They don't need to get Zhongwen because now you give them a job. That's the value that you bring. So that's a saving part. And not only that, they actually produce positive contribution to the society because now they are serving the industry. So think about, therefore, the number of people you employ times their productivity, and also plus the fact that they're not taking subsidy from the government. You start having something quantifiable, something you can show people these are the value impact I bring, right, on a dollar basis, which is something, it's a good number to show. One step further, not only measuring, not just measuring the value of the social impact value, we could even talk about the return on investment of the social impact. Now, this is actually something fairly new. People still arguing whether this is the right measure, but it seems that more and more people are adopting this because social enterprise, people don't want to just talk about social impact. They want to talk in terms of a business, in terms of a return on investment. It's the trend, because if you don't talk about the impact on investment, the social enterprise will give people the impression that you are just a not-for-profit, you are just a social welfare company, a social welfare organization. There is a huge distinction between just a pure social welfare organization where they keep taking donations and they're not self-sustainable. Whereas the social enterprise that you're trying to create should be self-sustainable. So it is meaningful to talk about the return on investment of the social impact as well. So here's a framework of trying to, I'm not suggesting you should do this in your business plan, by the way, or you can try. I mean, that you may get bonus point because you're talking about the pioneer thinking of social enterprise, and judges may view that positively. But it is hard because there's not a lot of established kind of data on this yet. But this is how you do it. The first stage, think of who are the stakeholders and who do you actually have an effect on. So is it the employees? Is it just the people you are serving? What are the intended or unintended changes, that the effect that you have on them? Sometimes there's some side effects which are good or bad. Hopefully, everything is good in your social enterprise. So you may have some good unintended changes. But if you have some unintended bad changes, I suggest you to change your business plan. What would be the input required in terms of investment or resources? And therefore, what are the outputs? So I can run so many programs, I can serve so many people, I can help so many single mothers. What are the activities? So I can run so many events, I can do a lot of things. And then, by the way, you can download this stuff. So if you can't copy it fast enough, you won't get a copy. Describe the changes, and hopefully these changes are measurable with some indicator. So is it the number of people you help? Is it the resources that you created, or the subsidy that you saved from the government? Where are the source of information? So you can look at, the government says every year so many people get subsidy or get a low income subsidy. And so get some information. And if you can quantify the number of people, etc., you can then work out a meaningful number. And how long is your company, or it could be ongoing, it could be a project-based, right? And what sort of similar financial proxy that you can use to value the change? Because it's not always measurable, then you have to be creative and find something kind of comparable. And therefore, the value, and then again, state where you get the information. Finally, in the next slide, also, what happens if you don't do anything? Because it's just a baseline measure. You can't claim that you make all the changes, because even if you don't do something, maybe there will still be some change. So that's the baseline, that way. Right? What have you actually displayed as a result? Sometimes, one example which I really don't like, but I will quote anyway, is for people who work in Hong Kong Jockey Club. Do you have problem with the idea? I hate gambling, so I don't like Hong Kong Jockey Club claim to be, we are a regulated charity. I take these gambling tax money and then I do some good thing about it. Where to get the money from in the first place? But some friends of mine who are Christian, and they try to justify why they allow themselves to work in this company, and they talk about this that way. They talk about, wow, imagine if there is no Hong Kong Jockey Club in Hong Kong. People would go underground gambling, people would do all sorts of things, right? So isn't it better to have Hong Kong Jockey Club? I don't buy that at all. So I have another friend who become a very, 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 very high up undersecretary now in Hong Kong. I won't name who, but you can probably tell from. Actually, I just said it. Right? So someone who used to work in Hong Kong Jockey Club and then now become only one. But anyway, what he said was, if you read the Bible, and then the Bible says it's okay to gamble. I didn't even know that. So long as you are not taking the baby's money, the baby's milk money to gamble, then it's fine. But what I didn't ask him was, how do you make sure that people don't gamble the children's education money? What do you mean? Yeah, so long as you don't gamble your children's education or but how do you make sure that? Anyway, so now it's education.